Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the Salam Bombay Academy of the Arts. A musical extravaganza awaits you in a few minutes. But before that, I would like to share a short story with you that will take us behind the scenes. In 2007, 20 adolescents growing up in Mumbai's urban slums began their tryst with the performing arts. They learned the nuances of acting, set design, movement, body movement, stage management, lighting, and so much more. Today, they are all voiceover artists, actors, producers, directors, script writers, cinematographers, and what have you. And so began the journey of the Salam Bombay Academy of the Arts. As of today, more than 7,500 students all over India's urban slums have experienced the power of an art education. It is no wonder then that for the first time, the National Education Policy in 2020 focuses on developing and nurturing art integrated education. Many of us are asked, and very often, how underprivileged children with so many real problems can benefit from an art education. Aren't there more things, important things for them to be coping with in their daily life? But the outcomes of an art integrated education have been well documented. And some of them are that adolescents with an art education behind them are equipped with life skills that give them the confidence to face their everyday challenges, fostering talent and enhancing creativity that would otherwise have remained dormant and lost forever. Lower dropout rates because both now the left and the right side of the brain is given a chance to flourish and boredom levels in school come down. Skill-based training that opens up internship opportunities for these children and gives them the ability to contribute to family income and save for their own future education. And this is probably extremely important to note because when the family applies pressure on these children to drop out of school and pick up a job, these children have nothing to fall back on. But when they have vocationally empowered and vocationally backed skills and an internship that leads to further economic enhanced prosperity, the pressure to drop out of school also comes down. And that's why we say that when they are vocationally empowered in the arts with employability skills, then their economic prospects are enhanced. And these are just a few, it is just the tip of the iceberg. Today, we are very proud to share this stage with our long-term partner and collaborator of 9 years, Rael Padamsee and her Create Foundation. Thanks to them, many students have had the opportunity to perform on a public platform through her productions like The Sound of Music, Grease, Mahatma, and many others. Over the past 3 years, 55 of our students have received an advanced training in speech and drama under her tutelage. And she has given them an opportunity to explore relevant and path-breaking theatre concepts. Some of these children form part of the cast whom you will see today. For this, Rael, we will always be grateful. We would appreciate a few words from you about your experience with the Salam Bombay Academy. Over to you.
Hi there. Thank you and congratulations to everyone at Salam Bombay. I think it's been such a wonderful, wonderful journey. I think the fact that you'll encourage the children in all these different aspects, give them such fantastic training. They really, 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 are able to get out there and prove themselves. I mean, having performing on the professional stage with us, it's been quite a fantastic experience for both them and of course us as well. We're so happy to have this today. It's the first of its kind. everyone knows the challenges of the pandemic. I don't have to go into that. So when Salam Bombay approached us and said, hey, we want to do a play and it has to be an online, training. And then we decided how we're going to do it. And then, of course, they said that, we're going to shoot it and do an offline shoot, but extremely under very, perfect conditions. So it was a wonderful online teaching experience and an offline presentation experience, which of course, they had the cameraman and everything in there to shoot, edit, everything. And it's been so much fun for all of us, including the kids, I'm sure, because they all got dressed up in their fantastic costumes, props and makeup and everything else that goes into a performance. And what you'll see today is one of a kind. Seriously, it's been the first time we've ever attempted this. And kids from all over, all over Bombay, not only Bombay, I think some of them had to go back to their villages as well. So there was one very talented young girl, and she, of course, performed from there. So it was just, a lot of dynamics that had to be kept, kept tightly together. But what a great team and what a great collaboration. I'm really happy to do this. And so is my team. And I know that it's going to be something that's very, very special for you and for us. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you, Laila.
Both creation and Holocaust are ever existing. It has no beginning nor end and is eternal. The whole universe is contained within it. This is Shiva. Shiva was there when there was nothing. Shiva will be there even nothing remains. Shiva is the beginning source of the creation process. Shiva is the auspicious deity. Shiva is the breeder and destroyer. Bholinath, Shankar, Mahesh, Rudra, Nilkant are the few names of the god of the gods, Mahadev. The amazing and powerful bow of Shiva was propped up in the palace of Earth King Janak Raja. When baby Sita in her playfulness came in contact with the bow and new chapter began.
A princess must be kind, a princess must be strong, and a princess must always tell the truth. She must always protect her kingdom and help everyone she can. That is what my parents and my teachers have always taught me, and I will always remember that.
Oh my God! How could our Sita left such a mighty bow with such ease? No one has even been able to lift this bow that Lord Shiva has gifted us.
Is this some trickery or a boon? Sita is sure to become a legend.
Wow, what a happy day! Our daughter is truly blessed.
I am doubly away with responsibilities now. I won't let her get married to any ordinary man. Her suitor also has to fulfill these conditions to win her hand in marriage.
No, please be cautious before taking any vow. We all know it is impossible to match this field. Our daughter shall remain unmarried.
I can understand a mother's fear, but don't you think our worry shouldn't to be get our princess married at the right age to the right person? Wouldn't she be happier in her house than marrying a person who can't value her? Every soul has its mate. There will surely be a person who will lift the bow.
Wisely said King Jana.
Marriage is a union of two souls after all.
A man who is a match for a brilliant princess of Mithila. That's who we shall select.
I hereby take a solemn oath in Lord Shiva's presence that my daughter will marry only such a man who can able to lift the Shiva's bow.
Whoever lifts the bow of Shiva and strings it will marry Sita. Janak Raja made this announcement when Sita was eligible for marriage. To fulfill this condition of Janak Raja and to marry Sita, kings came from far and wide kingdoms, and Ram and Lakshman were also present along with sage Vishwamitra. This was an examination of merits of all kings and emperors, but the future was awaiting Sita and Ram Swayamvar.
Let the Swayamvar begin.
This is absolutely ridiculous. You keep an impossible test and then insult us. The whole world knows. No one can lift this bow.
Good one, but this isn't the correct way to.
Your daughter's beauty has made you too arrogant.
Maharaja Janak, either you can fold your hands in apology and we will decide who amongst us gets Sita, or let your daughter stay unmarried forever. You need to be taught a lesson.
I am not sure. I should be sad or relieved that Nana could lift the bow. I would request you all to leave. I can now see my daughter's fate is to remain unmarried.
How could a knowledgeable person like you begin blaming fate so soon? Allow me to instruct my disciple to participate in this Swayamvar. Ram,
Dear God, a prayer is always futile, since you know the untold and you fulfill the unasked. And yet I pray today. I pray with all my heart.
अब विदा के जो साजन आयो ने
Maharaj Dashrath, we ask from this now. If there any error on our part regarding information, do not hesitate to bring it to my notice. Accept some humble gifts for you and your family.
As they say, sons can be responsible, but it's daughters that are affectionate. God has blessed me with 4 sons, but today is a day when I feel truly fortunate because I will now have an affectionate daughters to take care of me. Now, if you have any gift that can surpass the happiness of having a daughter, I shall gladly take it. Else, Raja Janak, accept this humble promise as a gift that the princess of your house shall be the queen of ours.
Maharaj Dashrath, nothing can be more precious for a father than knowing that his daughter won't knock at his door crying. Donate all these gifts among the poor, for we have exchanged our gifts.
This marriage was the union of two divine energies in one. And instead of Jai Ram, Sita Ram's acclaim was heard all over Ayodhya. 12 years had passed since the marriage of Siya and the battle of the truth and evil in the future was awaited. The catalyst to all this was Manthra's treachery. King Dashrath wanted to place his elder son Ram on the throne of Ayodhya. But Queen Kaikeyi's maid Manthra influenced her to ask King Dashrath to fulfill his 2 vows, which he had given her when she had saved his life many years back. Kaikeyi asked for Ram to be in exile for 14 years as her first wish, and her son Bharat to sit on the throne of Ayodhya as her second wish. King Dashrath was completely shattered by Kaikeyi's words. But honoring his father's promise, Lord Ram accepted 14 years of exile and walked in the forest. With the thought of Ayodhya is wherever, Ram and Sita and Lakshman also went in exile with him. Upon Ram's departure, Dashrath was shattered and gave up his life. Bharat, who was at his maternal uncle's place, all this while was heartbroken when he heard about the incidents in Ayodhya. Bharat refused to being crowned as king and sit on the throne. Instead went to meet his dear brother Ram to make him understand and convince him to return back to Ayodhya.
Lakshman, what is it? That Bharat is here with his army. He wants you totally out of his way, but he doesn't know he will have to face.
Lakshman, he's our brother. Moreover, he's a king.
Bharat, is everything alright at Ayodhya?
You don't seem fine.
Yes, Bhaiya. Our father passed away because of the pain of your separation.
Brother, don't worry. This too shall pass. We all together will make our father proud. Because this is what he wished for, all of us to be united.
Is this the way to leave home and everyone you love? What wrongs the rest of us do? That all of us live without you for 14 years in a house that doesn't feel like a home anymore.
But
unless, like everyone, you doubt my intentions too?
no, Bharat, don't say that.
If you do not take it as a request, then take it as a king's order.
Bharat, a father died only because he couldn't bear the pain of his decision. And now, if I enter the kingdom and enjoy luxuries, would I not be cheating my deceased father?
If that's the case, here my mother, she agreed to take back her words and redeem you from the promise. If you insist of fulfilling a triple vow, I happily spent 14 years in the forest instead of you. But I can't see my brother in clothes of sadhu.
Bharat, my brother, destiny has written different story for each person. Mother Kaikeyi is a pawn in hand of destiny, and so we are. Maybe I am destined to fight a bigger battle, a bigger cause, which I don't know yet. That's why destiny chose this path for me.
But the power of love can change the course of destiny. Mother Kaushalya, you try and convince him.
Which is a bigger duty, serving an old mother, or fulfilling vow?
Not a question. Give my honor. He seems to be considerate of my king.
Bharat, I travel all along with the hope that Ram would be agreed to return. I wish to give him order and he will be bound to obey that too. But that's not what is love about. Love about binding your loved ones to your wishes. It's neither asks or nor demands, does it?
I proved I am clandestine. I was blinded by my love and chose to seize your freedom. I will not force my decision on you. But think of the pain you would give me before making this decision.
This 14 years will pass like one dark night. After I return, I will gladly accept the throne. Till then, rule Ayodhya, my brother. A kingdom without king, it fall like stack of cards.
Now you will have to listen my decision. I will serve the kingdom for 14 years, but not rule it in your absence, your Paduka shall be thrown it. It will rule Ayodhya for 14 years. Only 14 years, not a day more than that.
People saw the selfless brotherly love of Bharat and Ram. The selfless son, Lord Ram. Disappointed yet determined, Bharat came to Ayodhya with the footpad of Ram. For 14 years, Bharat held the kingdom of Ayodhya, placing Ram's fit Paduka on the throne. After 14 years, happy moment came when Lord Ram returned along with Sita and Lakshman after the victory over Lanka. The city of Ayodhya rose to welcome our God, our King, our beloved Ram. Entire heaven was surprised while watching the festival. This festival of Ram Rajya is celebrated with great pomp as Diwali in India. Who kills the Ravan inside, which illuminates the life of others. Support the truth, give justice to the poor by giving lessons to the ego. This is what we need today. Just once again, Ram Rajya, Ram Rajya, Ram Rajya.
जिसने पहन लिया हमरे दिल का ताज, आया भाई आया देखो